Welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah, and today I will be bringing you my November wrap-up. So I read 9 books in November, and my last book I finished the beginning of December, but I'm still going to talk about it here because I'm counting it, and yeah. So I'm just going to go in order for the books that I read. I only actually have 4 physical books here, but I should have pictures for hopefully all of them to put up next to me. So I'm just going to go in order for what I finished when. The first book that I finished was Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. I own this book, however, I lent it to my mom for her to read it, and so she has it at her house. But I gave this book 4 stars. This is a story about Viv. She is an orc who is an assassin, but she's decided that she's tired of that life and she wants to give it up and open up a coffee shop. However, nobody around knows what coffee is. She tried it one time in this one place and absolutely fell in love with it, and now she wants to open up a cafe of her own. I really enjoyed this book. It got a little bit slow at times, which, you know, the cozy fantasies can do that. But overall, it was really fun. I liked the character development and, more importantly, the development of her cafe. She brings in Thimble, who makes incredible pastries, and they just sounded so amazing. And I could just imagine this place just smelling like coffee and pastries, and it just sounded incredible. So I really enjoyed it. It did get a bit slow at times, and it got kind of repetitive because it would, every time they added something new to the menu, they would print out the whole menu again and show the progression of it, which was fun, and it was fine, but it got a little bit repetitive. So yeah, I gave that one 4 stars, and I did really enjoy it. The second book that I read this month was Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater, about how she goes through life not feeling things the way that she's supposed to, and how she has half a soul, and her cousin is about to be coming out as a woman in society and looking for a husband, and so they go to London so that way she can have her best chances of everything working out in her favor. And in the meantime, they meet the Lord Saucier, that he is going to help Dora try and find basically the other half of her soul and have everything get fixed. Well, in the meantime, she starts visiting workhouses with the Lord Saucier and his best friend, who she's pretending to date to keep her family off of her back. And she realizes that there are other things going on that should take priority over her condition, and wants him to try and help these children in the workhouses first. So this book is about them trying to solve the mystery of why these children are going to sleep and not waking up. And this book, it wasn't a bad book. It wasn't my favorite by any means. I didn't particularly like the dynamic between Dora and the Lord Saucier. And I don't know, I just felt like they were kind of flat. And I know for her it was supposed to be that way, but it just didn't, their relationship didn't really do a whole lot for me, and I just wasn't super thrilled with it. So I gave that one like a 3.5 stars. So the next book that I read was Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. By Heather Fawcett. This one was kind of a roller coaster for me. The first 3/4 of the book, I absolutely loved it. I felt like it was just kind of whimsical and fun, and, you know, when I first started it, I wasn't sure about it because it had all of the little entries at the bottom of the page, and I don't usually care for that, but the more I read, the less there were of those, of the footnotes, and the more it was just about the story. And Wendell, he's not the most likable character, but you get to kind of understand why he is the way that he is. And Emily Wilde she's got a relationship with him that, like, they're kind of rivals and they're kind of friends because that's kind of the only person that she really has a connection to. And it's all about her trying to finish this encyclopedia so that way she can be known in their group for what she has learned about the fairies. And I gave this one like a 3.75 because I absolutely loved the first 3/4 of it, like I said, but the last quarter of it felt like it was too rushed. It felt like it was like you have one thing and then everything just spirals out of control, and it got a little wild for me. It got a little bit too much, a little bit like it was rushed. Like she felt like she was coming up on a deadline. She had to get all this stuff in, and then, oh yeah, I'm going to do a book too. And so like it just, I don't know, there was just something about it. Like the first portion of the book was really great, and it was, you know, just kind of a slower moving, but you kind of got to know the characters and stuff like that. And then the last of it, it was like so much happened so fast, like you couldn't really get a grasp on it, which is why I didn't give this one a higher rating. Okay, so the next book that I read was The Last Chance Library by Freya Sampson. This is the one that my mom picked out for me. And it is a contemporary novel about a woman that I cannot actually remember her name right now, but it's a woman who lost her mother, and with all of this happening, she finds out that they are actually wanting to close down her library branch. This book is all about her and a group of people at the library that are wanting to fight back and try and rally and keep their library open. And I cannot remember his name either. The characters are not very memorable, but the big male character in this book, he is an older gentleman that he comes to the library first thing in the morning every single day. He stays until they close, and he is there day in and day out no matter what. And she doesn't really know why, but he's always there. He's like that consistent person who is always there when she goes to work. And his character broke my heart because he reveals throughout the book that he doesn't have a very good relationship with his grown son, and it explains kind of why that is and what happened with that. And so like he's always getting on the computer and needing help to get on the computer to send emails to his son who lives in America now. And I really enjoyed his character. This book overall, I felt like it was really flat. It was very predictable. The characters were really one note. There was nothing at all wrong with it. It was a good book. It wasn't memorable. I mean, obviously, I can't remember anybody's name who was in the book. I can remember the story, but I can't remember anybody's name. And to me, like, it was a good book. It was just not very memorable. So I ended up giving that one 3 stars. The next book that I read was a historical fiction, and that is The Arctic Fury by Greer Macallister. I have a handful of her books back here, which is why I picked it up, and I absolutely love her writing. And Arctic Fury is about a one woman who leads 11 women into the Arctic in order to try and find their beneficiary's husband who has disappeared, and what happens with that. Now, the main character, Virginia Reeve, she helps people get out west in with like the wagon trains crossing out west to California, and the perspectives switch back and forth between their journey to the Arctic, these 12 women, and once they get back, Virginia Reeve is on trial for the murder of one of those women. And so it goes back and forth between those two perspectives. This book was so interesting. I wish that there could have been a little bit more about their time in the Arctic, but overall, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the characters, even the way that it was written. It was beautifully written. It was very intriguing. It kept your attention going like crazy. You didn't really know for sure what was going to happen because the book starts out that she has a really, really, really rocky relationship with the woman that she ends up being accused of murdering. So it's like, oh my God, I don't know if she did this because they were in the Arctic and things are terrible. but could she have maybe done it? And like she keeps alluding to the terrible things that have happened throughout the book. So it's really interesting. It also keeps talking about how she has a past that she wants to keep hidden, something that she is ashamed of. And so that's really intriguing as well. You find out more about that as the story goes on. So overall, I really enjoyed this book. I love Greer McAllister's writing, and I cannot wait to pick up more from her. I've read 3 books already by her, and I've liked all of them a lot. So I gave this one like a 4 stars, 4 to 4.5 stars. It wasn't completely there. It could have been more, but it was overall really, really solid book. Okay, so the next book that I read, and the first one that I do actually have physically here, is The Stranger Upstairs by Lisa M. Matlin. This book, oh my gosh, how do you even begin? So a woman is an Instagram influencer, and she lives for that. She lives and breathes that confirmation from her followers and from everyone around her that she is doing the right thing, that she is a good person, like everything. She just feeds off of that attention. And she and her husband decide to buy a house, and it is a murder house where the last owners of the house, it was like a Lizzie Borden kind of situation where the husband goes upstairs, kills his wife, and then goes in the bathroom and kills himself. The daughter gets out and disappears. Nobody ever sees her again and stuff like that. So this house is believed to be haunted, but it is also like a murder house, so it's a really, really horrible place to begin with. There's like still bloodstains on the floor. This book, I didn't like it. I didn't like this book at all. I felt like the beginning of the book, the first half of the book, that it was almost like she was trying to get a certain number of words written by a certain time. Because I felt like there was a lot of extra cussing in here that, like, didn't necessarily need to be there. And I am absolutely, like, I don't have a problem with cussing in books. I don't have any kind of issue with that. But I just felt like it wasn't necessary. It didn't do anything. And I didn't like the characters. You're not supposed to really like the characters, but I hated the characters. She is an unreliable narrator, 100%. She is on antidepressants. She is an alcoholic. Her husband has issues. You don't have any idea what, but her husband is there, sort of. They're having problems. And then the second half of this book, it's like you could tell that she kind of lost her way in writing this book, because it makes it seem like it's going to be a haunted house story, and then it's like, no, it's a shitty neighbor, and then it's like, no, maybe it's not that. And then, so like you can kind of tell that she lost her way. She lost direction when she was writing this book, and I feel like that to me was very apparent, even before I read the ending of it. I felt like it was just all over the place. Like, is this a murder? Or it is a murder house, but is this house haunted? I don't know. Is it just an unreliable, messed up character? Yeah, kind of. Is it, it's everything. Is it just a dickhead neighbor that wants them out? Yeah, that's part of it. So, like, it's all these different things, and it's like it couldn't choose one specific direction that it wanted to go. I felt like the characters were super flat, but it was just, I did not like this book. I finished it, and that is about it. Which really is too bad, because it is a beautiful cover, and I was so excited to pick it up, and I really hoped that I would like it, but I didn't, and I gave it like a 2.5. The writing was okay, but it felt like it lost its purpose a lot in this book, and I just didn't like it. The next book that I read was Radar Girls by Sarah Ackerman. This was my secret TBR pick for something that I am currently working on. And it is a historical fiction about a girl who, she's in the water when the planes go over, and she experiences Pearl Harbor. And in that time, she decides that she wants to be a part of helping save Hawaii and do her part in the war. And so she becomes one of the wards, which is Women's Air Raid Defense Women. And so she becomes a part of this team. And she, in the meantime, meets a guy and they start a relationship. And I felt like this book, I liked it. There was nothing wrong with it. And I actually really enjoyed seeing her establish a friendship with these other women that she's living with and working beside and all of that. I really enjoyed that. And even the dynamic between her and this guy, it was fine. But with this book, I was hoping more for like something more similar to The Rose Code by Kate Quinn. And that it was like something happens and there's a betrayal and we have to figure it out and we have to solve this because we're going to be a huge part of this war. And more like that. This book was not that. This book was more of establishing relationships with people and what happens and doing a small part that made a big difference in their part of World War II. It was good. It wasn't what I was looking for, but the book was fine. And I gave it 3 stars. Like I said, it was fine. I liked it. I liked the dynamics between her and these other women. I liked the dynamics between her and this guy. However, it just wasn't what I was looking for, so I gave it 3 stars. The next book that I read was The Bullet That Missed by Richard Osman. This is the 3rd book in the Thursday Murder Club series. And this book, it's so fun. The characters are fun. And I really enjoy the characters. Elizabeth is kind of in her own way a badass. And in this book, it had a little bit more of her husband involved. I can't remember his name. But Elizabeth's husband was involved in this book a little bit more than the previous ones, and I really enjoyed that. However, I feel like I absolutely loved the first book. I ate it up, I read it so quick, and I absolutely fell in love with it. The second book was still good, but I don't really remember a whole lot about it, and this one was like a solid 3-star for me. It was good, it was interesting, I liked the characters, I liked the dynamics, I loved the banter. But it just is not one of my favorites. And I felt like, I don't know if I want to continue in this series anymore. Because I feel like I'm just kind of docking my rating on them with each one. As much as I have enjoyed these books so far, and as much as I love the characters, I don't know if another book will do it for me or not. However, because it does have Elizabeth's husband in here more, who has progressing dementia, I am curious to see what the 4th book would bring, like if it has more of his perspective in it, or more about his story, because I don't know. I know that you can't reverse it or anything like that, but I'm just so hopeful for something to come out of that with him and his wife. But I did really enjoy this one. Like I said, it's not the most amazing book in the world, but I did enjoy it, and I had a fun time reading it while I was. It's just not a favorite, and honestly, I don't think that these books are super memorable either. So I gave it 3. The next book that I read was The Stardust Thief by Chelsea Abdullah. And this one was really fun. I liked the traveling and trying to find hidden treasure, basically. So if you don't know, this book is a retelling of the 40 Thieves, the Aladdin kind of thing. It's a retelling of that. And the main character is the Midnight Merchant. And she finds old jinn or genie artifacts and stuff like that have magical abilities, and sells them off. And then the Sultan arrests her and says, I am going to enlist you to find this lamp that I need because it's a family heirloom technically. And I'm going to send you to do it so that way I don't have to. And I'm going to send my son with you to make sure that all goes well. And kind of act as a bodyguard. Well, it's not exactly how it plays out. Him and his younger brother, the one who he doesn't really do anything. But he doesn't know how to fight. He doesn't really bring anything to the table. And they switch places. So the guy that goes with her is actually this younger brother And so, like I said, he can't fight. He can't really do anything. He is just there, and he kind of whines a lot and makes things more difficult. And I hated his character, in case if you can't tell. But overall, I did really enjoy this book. I liked the traveling aspect of it. I liked the magic in this book. I absolutely loved the magic in this book. It was so interesting that all of these artifacts that seem like they are really nothing have these magical abilities and can do these insane things. They end up going into a sand dune, basically, that is like a hidden temple to the queen of the dead, basically, and are sucked into the magic of it. And it's really interesting. So, like, I really enjoyed the way this was written. I really enjoyed the magic system a lot. And I believe that the second book is going to be coming out in, like, February or so, like, early next year. So, I'm really thinking about picking up the second one. If you've read this one and you enjoyed it, please let me know. This is the first book in the Sandsea trilogy is what it says. So I'm really curious to try it out and see if I continue to like the story, because it left off on a pretty great cliffhanger that I'm really curious to see what happens next. And like I said, I gave this one 4 stars. Okay, so now the last book that I started the end of November, and I actually finished the beginning of, like, the first week of December, because I did, is The Blade of Faith by David Dalglish. Now, this is my reread for this month because I'm reading this one and I'm going to read The Sapphire Altar hopefully this month in preparation for the third book, The Slain Divine, that comes out on January 9th. Now, this book is so good. This book grabs a hold of you in the first chapter and it does not let go. It is so fast-paced, so many things happen. The magic system is really interesting, that the gods they have their magical abilities, and then one of the girls in this book, her name is Mari, she's actually a god whisperer. So she can, when the gods' body, like, are physically killed and their spirit still lingers, she can actually contact them and say, hey, I want to work with you to still be around, and you can help inhabit my body, and we can, like, share this essence. And so she can actually turn into the god, in a sense, in an edited way, basically, in a reimagined way. She can embody this god. Now, the god in this book that she is embodying is Darius, and he is a lion in a very broad sense. His whole mane, his incredible mane, is like rainbow feathers, and he can fly and stuff like that. So it's kind of like exaggerated. It's very exaggerated. But she becomes the lioness, so she doesn't have the mane and stuff, and she's not rainbow. She's gray and bone and plated and stuff like that, but she can embody his spirit. And that is such a cool, interesting part of this. Her sister, Seja, is an infamous fighter. She's known as the Axe of Laharid. I think that's how you say it. I don't know. Once you start seeing it as one way, you cannot unsee it that way. So she is a ruthless killer, and she is trying to fight for her father and for the woman that she loves and stuff like that. And then the main character that this is about is Cyrus. Now, he is the prince of this land, Thanet, and his parents are killed right in front of him when he is 14. And then he is imprisoned by the Imperator and all of those that came to take over his land. And then when he is, I want to say like 16, I think is what it is. He's in prison for that long. And then they have this big ceremony to kill the other god. And he gets out, basically. And it gets, just luckily gets found by his old bodyguard. And he takes him to safety. to start training with Mari and Stasia and their father to learn how to fight and basically become the hope that this city needs in order to try and get their country back or get their city back. And the whole thing, like, there's so much that happens, and it's so hard to explain it without spoiling everything and without, like, ruining this book and stuff like that. There's so much to it that it's really, really hard to explain it well. But this book is so, so good. This is one of my absolute favorites of the year. And rereading it just solidified that for me. This was 5 stars, hands down. And I cannot wait to pick up the next one and reread that one. And I absolutely can't wait for the 3rd one to come out in January, because I know that I will be buying that, like, right away. So this one was a 5-star for me, hands down. So overall, I read 10 books this month, and here are 5 of those. I also have Legends and Lattes, Emily Wilde, Half a Soul, and The Last Chance Library, and Arctic Fury. So I have half of them that I don't have. They're from the library, or my mom has them. So here are half of those. So what books did you finish in November? Have you read any of these books and had similar thoughts to me or different thoughts to mine? I would love to hear what you thought. And if you are willing and if you would like to, please like and subscribe for more content from me. I'm trying to figure out a schedule for doing videos, but it's always kind of hard because my days get wonky. But if you like this video, please like and subscribe down below for more content from me. I do have my knife throwing TBR that I do every month. That will absolutely be continuing into the new year. And I cannot wait to have some more bookish content for you. And hopefully I will have a video up soon for some really fun Christmassy reads. And I think that that is it. So I will see you in the next one, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.